Donald Trump's campaign vows to build a Bitcoin and crypto army, as they are now accepting crypto donations for their campaign. And in response, the current administration in Washington changes their tone from adversarial to eager to wanting to build a digital asset ecosystem in the United States. Also, Ethereum magically moves from being sued by the SEC to now being likely to be approved for a spot ETF in the coming weeks. We take a look under the hood to reveal the truth about why these drastic changes have happened and how people are potentially being paid for these things. Welcome to Bitcoin Daily. I'm Dante Cook, head of Swan Business. I wanted to start off with the news that's hot off the press. Donald Trump and his campaign vowed to build a Bitcoin and crypto army, and they're now accepting crypto donations on their website. And on the surface, people will believe when they see headlines like this that what's good for crypto is also good for Bitcoin. But let me tell you, these two things couldn't be more different. And I want to show you how. Let's go all the way back to 1971 for me to prove my point. What the F happened in 1971? Well, for those of you who don't know, in the 1970s, we had stagflation, which means we had an inflationary economy with stagnating economic growth, aka stagflation. The US was also in the middle of the Vietnam War, and with this, we had surging liabilities from war expenses, and we were also giving out subsidies and government money to people to stimulate the economy. Sound familiar? Well, when that happened, the United States dollar depreciated against the gold reserves that it was backed by. And so, other countries started taking advantage of it by selling their US dollar reserves for gold. This resulted in the depletion of US gold reserves. This wasn't good for the United States. And so on August 15, 1971, what did Richard Nixon do? He stepped in and declared this decree right here.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
This was the birth of fiat currencies. And so in 1971, currency went from something that was backed by hard money or something that couldn't be manipulated so easily to political tokens. Political tokens are something that are used to facilitate or advance the interests of a select group of people. Typically, these are politicians and governments. And since 1971, everything has been out of whack. Let's take a look at a few charts from WTFhappened-in-1971.com. People are working more and more for less pay. Birth rates have plummeted globally. The cost of living has skyrocketed. And the cost of homes are now unaffordable for most people in America. The cost of government debt has ballooned to astronomical levels. The number of hyperinflationary currency events had gone from something that was relatively rare to something that is extremely frequent. You know what was also created in 1971? The World Economic Forum, created by its founder Klaus Schwab, who, in an email to employees just this week or late last week, said that he was stepping down from his executive role. Since 1971, everything about the global economy has been out of whack. And since then, you've also seen the rise of political tokens or globalist agenda tokens that are being spread through the media to countries all around the world. This could be climate control. This could be food regulation. This could be gas and oil prices. And you can see that the World Economic Forum isn't necessarily represented by the world. If you look at one of their major conferences like Davos, it's really a elitist economic forum, or the EEF, where the interest of a select group of people, mainly the global elite or politicians or corporations and governments, are represented, and the political tokens are then cast upon the rest of us to consume. On the bright side, you know what also happened in 1971? A computer scientist and cryptographer, Horst Weissel, created the first data encryption standards at IBM in 1971. This technology paved the way for us to have the internet that we know it today. It created the ability for two strangers to trustlessly send information in a protected way between themselves. This paved the way for us to have secure encrypted communications, secure encrypted messaging, both online and through text message, but it also allowed us to facilitate payments and ultimately created the ability for us to have encrypted money in 2009 in a decentralized, peer-to-peer, trustless way. And that way we all know as Bitcoin. And so in 1971, you had the creation of political tokens, and you also saw the creation or the beginning of encrypted money. These are two wildly different things with two very different agendas. So back to the Donald Trump news. You look at their website and it says they now accept crypto tokens for donations to their campaign. But when you dig a little bit under the hood, you realize that Coinbase Commerce doesn't allow you to actually send encrypted money through its services or its platform. You realize that the Donald Trump campaign is only accepting political money to fund its campaign. Coinbase Commerce head of product, Lauren Dowling, says the reason that you're unable to send or they're unable to accept Bitcoin is because delivering the same capabilities of other tokens like political tokens through Coinbase is too difficult on Bitcoin because they don't have smart contracts and stable coins were challenging. And we therefore made the difficult decision to remove native Bitcoin and other UTXO support. So you're telling me that a guy was able to pay for 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoin in 2010, but Coinbase in 2024, one of the largest platforms in the world, is unable to accept native Bitcoin payments. Something doesn't add up here to me because there are Bitcoin Lightning providers and Bitcoin platforms like Swan accepting and facilitating Bitcoin transactions today. And what's also funny, on Bitcoin Pizza Day, Coinbase is celebrating with a Coinbase pizza truck, which doesn't even allow you to buy pizza with Bitcoin, the original reason the holiday was created. You're only allowed to buy a slice with a payment as easy as pie using USDC. Again, you have to be careful to understand the differences between crypto or political tokens and Bitcoin and encrypted money. When you see the reversal of the United States government's stance on crypto from being adversarial to somehow eager to wanting to build a digital asset ecosystem in the United States, you have to wonder why and what happened. Their stance on Bitcoin has not changed. They were offered political tokens and the ability to manipulate political tokens in the future, which is only possible on other Web3 and crypto chains like Ethereum. The fact that you see ETH about to be approved for a Spot ETH ETF just a few weeks after the SEC sued the Ethereum Foundation, you have to wonder what changed and what changed so drastically. I think that they were offered political tokens. Or the fact that 3 former Fed governors urged the Senate to not nominate Judy Shelton to being on the Fed Board of Governors. You can see it's because she was a sound money or encryption money or Bitcoin advocate. Or when you see Numisma being approved for a Federal Reserve master bank account, the second non-FDIC, non-federally regulated bank to receive one, you have to wonder what's going on. You dig in a little further to see that 2 former Fed vice chairs, Sarah Bloom Raskin and Randy Quarles, are both involved with the organization. So a political token bank was approved. And then you look at someone like Custodia Bank with 100% cash reserves being denied for a Fed Reserve master bank account with the same qualifications and a better track record, and it being labeled as something that is inherently unsafe and unsound. The government does not favor encryption money or sound money or Bitcoin. When you see crypto and crypto news and think of it as favorable, you need to understand the difference between a political token and encryption money. Jack Mallers points this out very well.
You, of course, very much focused on functionality and building upon Bitcoin. What do you think, though, of a ETF, yet more institutional money potentially coming into the smart contract side of the equation?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any other cryptocurrency outside of Bitcoin, but I think there is a hilarious story as to why this is happening. I mean, I was laughing out loud. It looks like someone went to Gary Gensler and said, hey, buddy, you're not in charge anymore. And you'd have to think why that was. It's because banks and Wall Street are making money. right? Banks get a really bad deal in today's market is they have to buy bonds that are performing awfully. And all of a sudden they get a free market in this independent crypto thing, and they're actually making money. These markets have life. These markets go up. When governments debase their currency, these things perform well. And they got a taste of Bitcoin, and it was the best performing product that they've ever had. And they're like, oh man, how many other pieces of crap are there out there that we can list as ETFs? And I literally think that's what's happening. It's a way better business to launch crypto ETFs than it is to buy bonds right now based on the macro environment. So I think someone said, hey, Gary, sorry, buddy, despite you thinking that these things are securities, we need to make money. And that's what happened.
Jack, let's go back to basics here. There will be members of the Bloomberg Technology audience that push back on, I'm paraphrasing, a spot ETH ETF being the next listing of a piece of crap. There's a standard tagline in our Bloomberg coverage, which is that Ether is the native token of Ethereum, and Ethereum is the most widely commercially used blockchain. What would be your response to that standard line?
Sure. Okay. And I apologize to all those I offended. Here's my point. Bitcoin is the only money within the cryptocurrency space. It's designed and treated as a monetary asset. So then what do I think Ethereum is? I think Ethereum is a technology, which you actually just displayed in your introduction and definition of it. Ethereum appeals to developers. They change the monetary policy and the rules all of the time. However, the market often conflates it as a money, conflates it as a commodity. Strike is a technology. NVIDIA is a technology. These things are regulated by the SEC. These things have cash flows. These things have founders, directors, people that set the roadmap. And so when I say a piece of crap, maybe I'm being a bit aggressive, but I think it's distinctly different from Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin can be the world reserve asset, the one money that we use to store our time and energy. And I think Ethereum can be a technology which competes with NVIDIA. But then it gets confusing. It's like, well, what's their cash flows? Who founded it? Who sets the direction? Why does it change so much? And when it does change, why does it change? I think that there's a lot of intentional confusion going on in the story. And as a Bitcoiner, it frustrates me because I'm trying to fix the money, fix the world. And so I think that there's a lot the market has to sort out as to what it actually is and how to value it.
Crypto is just another form of political tokens, an extension of what happened in 1971. It's not money. It's a token that's created out of thin air in order to advance the interests of a few people. Bitcoin is fundamentally different. It's encryption money. It's money that can't be manipulated, gamed, and its creation was not for political gain, but for the benefit of everyone and anyone who would use the protocol. I hope that you're starting to see the difference. What's good for crypto isn't necessarily good for Bitcoin. You have to know the difference. And with that, we're signing off for today. I'm excited to see how many people brought their ass up to Minnesota for game 1 of the Mavericks versus the Timberwolves tonight.
I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas.
Hey, can you send me a list of good restaurants? We're going to be there for like 5 days. I want you to send me a list of some good restaurants, okay?
Yeah. I'm going to find your number through somebody. I'm going to send them to you.
I've got to ask my buddy Quiddim, are there actually any good restaurants in Minnesota? Who knows? This is Dante Cook with Swan.com. Happy stacking.